Welcome to the Morning Formation. This episode is powered by Act Now Education. Warriors fall in. It's time for formation. Today on the Morning Formation podcast, we're connected with a man who embodies resilience, style, and the spirit of creative hustle. Maurice P. Kerry is an accomplished actor, model, entrepreneur whose journey from humble beginnings to the entertainment industry is nothing short of inspiring. Oh, and let's not also forget to mention that this is a combat veteran, a Marine Corps devil dog, now in the industry of acting. So, Maurice, I want to tell you that I am highly appreciative of you giving me this opportunity to talk to you today.
And I am highly appreciative of you actually wanting to speak with me, man. Thank you so much. And thank you. That was such a warm welcome, Mike. That was amazing. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, and that's the thing. I think a lot of folks out there really don't think about their overall experiences and who they are. I mean, a guy like you're busy, you've got a lot of things going on, you're a combat veteran. So for folks like me, man, it's like I'm honestly humbled to sit with you, and it's nice to meet other guys that are just down to earth and are just in this life to make a difference, but also share their story at the same time, man, because there's other people out there that really don't ever see themselves on the big screen. So I want to give you an opportunity to just introduce yourself, and then we'll get into your career transition and how you got into that.
Thanks. So, first and foremost, Maurice P. Kerry. I am an actor, producer, writer, director. Former United States Marine Corps Iraq War combat veteran, decorated. So I did fight in Iraq in 2004. Afterward, I was actually homeless for about a year, living in my friend's car. Going from the Marine Corps and transitioning into civilian life, it's a lot of times it's very difficult for people. But one thing I will say that the military gave me was that resilience and that willingness to fight and fight for myself and fight for the people that I care about. And that served me well in an industry where it's really 95% rejection. And the fact that I grew up on Rocky movies where Rocky wasn't a good fighter, but he just kept going until he chopped those trees down, that sort of mentality, stuck with me. Like, just keep going, keep going, keep going until eventually the tree falls. And so if there's anything that anybody wants to do, all you have to do is make the decision to do it and go for it and push toward that goal. And most of the time you'll make it. Just keep going.
Yeah. I love hearing about the resiliency, about getting knocked down and brushing yourself and getting back up again. And you're right. Like growing up in the 80s, that's what most action movies were about, was like getting your ass kicked and then getting back up again. I don't want to really gloss
Karate
over this.
Kid, Karate Kid,
Oh yeah.
Rocky. What's another one? I mean, there's so many, but you're absolutely right. The theme with a lot of that was resilience.
Right.
You get knocked down, you get back up.
Yeah. Yep. Even the little guy,
Yep.
because Rocky was the small American, and Drago was the
Yeah.
big
The
crazy
Russian.
Soviet Union guy, right?
Yep. 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 And that was the theme of that film. Like, but that those type of things really stuck with me, and I find them to those ideas of just fighting for yourself. I live by those, and I teach them to my daughter. So before anything, I'm a man, I'm a father, I'm a Marine, and then I'm an actor. And so yeah.
It's important for men to really know what their priorities are, I
Mhm.
think, because some people really don't know. Like, who am I? What am I? And then I live in a big city in LA,
Oh,
and I find that there's more people here that don't know who they are,
yeah,
and the way you listed that, I like that.
yeah. If you don't know who you are, you don't have any idea where you're going, and you also don't have any moral compass to just say no to things. Say things that I'm unwilling to do, or I'm or what's the word I'm looking for? Things that you're not willing to compromise.
Right.
If you don't know definitively who you are, you're more likely to compromise your values. Was the word I was looking for. Your values and your ideas for the sake of winning or success or what you deem as success. And one thing that I will not, in that order, the things that I will not compromise is I will not compromise being a man. I will not compromise being a father. I will not compromise being a Marine, and I will, in order to make it in the industry. Somebody has to stand on something, and I'm going to
Right.
stand on what I believe.
Right. I love that because it helps in the decision making process,
Right.
right? The just analyzing everything and decision making process. And in a sense, life kind of has an operations order, and that part
Correct.
is in there.
Correct. And I do believe when we try to outthink nature and outthink the order of operations of things, I do think we have problems.
Yeah.
I think society, as far as society is concerned, as far as how we are internally, if we can all remember our humanity at the base of things, first things, we're human beings. Start
Right.
there. Start the fact that you are a human and understand that you're fallible. You will make mistakes,
Right.
and be willing to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm human. I'm a man. I'm a woman. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to get some of this stuff wrong, and it's okay. And be okay being honest with yourself first.
Right. I got to remind people sometimes too, like, hey, like it's okay to fail. I had a niece that
Yes.
called me the other day, and she was going to meet up with she's looking at going into several different branches. So I'm helping her with the process of that. And she was going to take a physical fitness test night before. She's so nervous because the recruiters got her thinking like, all right, you got to like do well in this. Otherwise we're not even going to talk to you anymore. And I told her, I said, you're only in competition with yourself. Like as long as you're willing, even if you fail that test, as long as you're willing to get back up again and show up the next day, that's
Uh-huh.
all that matters. That's it.
Uh-huh.
Like I failed a lot of things in my life.
Yeah. And so even with the word failure, you only fail when you quit. Like there's one thing to
Exactly.
be set back. There's one thing to lose. You can lose, you can get set back, but you only fail when you stop trying. So if I'm in a fight and I get knocked down and I just stay there, the fight's over. I lost. But if I get knocked down and I get back up, the fight's still on.
Yeah.
The fight's still on until it's over. Until it's
Yeah.
absolutely over. And so you don't fail when you get knocked down. So if your friend were to she were to not pass the test, go get stronger, get better, come back
Right.
again.
Exactly. 100%. Were you in sports in high school?
I wasn't. I wasn't. I'm actually a gamer nerd. People don't
Really?
get that. People don't get that from me because I got muscles. And I'm 6 feet, 220, and they're like, you're a gamer? I am a gamer nerd. But if you look back here,
Right. I see it.
Transformers.
Oh
Yep.
man.
With the action figures and the hat,
I
gamer
love it.
nerd. I actually
I
have
love
my
it, man.
PS4 right here. I got my PS5 upstairs. I got a Wii, a Switch, gamer.
Hey, where were you stationed at when you were in the Marines?
So my first duty station was Iwakuni, Japan. CSSD 36. So shouts out to them over in Iwakuni, Japan. If I knew then what I knew now, I'd probably still be in the Marines and probably still be in Japan. And
Really?
then I left Japan and I went to Camp Pendleton. I was with First Combat Engineer Battalion, maintenance platoon. So that was first CEB. That was where I did that's where the good stuff and the bad stuff happened. I was whew, loved it.
Did
So,
Oh man, I bet you got some
San Diego,
stories.
California. Mm,
Oh man. I love San Diego, man. I live up in
yeah.
LA, but I would rather be in San Diego if I had my druthers for sure.
Yeah, oh,
Um,
absolutely. You'd be closer. Yeah, you'd be closer to everything, and people would understand. You would be around people who understood you more.
right. And that's the thing too, like being around it's funny being up here in LA, like I don't know a whole lot of military veterans
Mm.
that live in my community in my neighborhood. And it's a little frustrating sometimes because I know living closer to the bases and stuff, you have a tendency to be closer to that culture in
Mhm.
general. Is that who you deployed with? Did you deploy out of Pendleton?
Yes, CSSD 36. Or I'm sorry, First Combat Engineer Battalion. So yes, I was with First Mardiv. Went to Iraq.
2004. So I was there in 04, 05 at the end of 04. So you were there during Fallujah.
So let me ask you this: what month did you get there?
I got there in December.
I had just left. We left in September. I just left. You just
Okay.
missed me. Because so you were probably at Al Assad, right?
No, I was up in Mosul.
Okay, cool. So we wouldn't even have crossed paths because yeah, I was like the only welder for about I don't know, it had to be like a
God.
30 to 50 mile radius. So I was literally welding for the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and the Air Force. And so they basically had me centrally located in Al Assad. And if something needed to be welded, I had to convoy out. And that was really where most of my anxiety came from was convoys because I didn't mind this. Like I can mentally, I can handle this. It's like it's you, it's me, we're doing our thing. But convoys, that sneaky guerrilla warfare where anything, anywhere could happen at any time, like that used to drive me crazy because they would bury IEDs under the road or in carcasses next to the side. It's like you can't even drive past a raggedy car without being worried, like and so yeah. So I did a lot of convoys because I was the welder, the you know.
And I don't, I no, I want to make sure that I underline that because we didn't get up armored level 3 Tardak until I want to say like it's sometime in December. Like we had to
Right.
send an entire platoon down to Kuwait, and there was an E4 down there during a question and answer session that asked Rumsfeld like, why don't we have up armored, uh, military vehicles? So when you were there, you were
I
the
was building
man.
them. No, I was the one building the turrets and the up armor. But the
Yeah,
thing is, we had so one of the issues that we kept running into was the fact that it was aluminum. The joints were aluminum, so they would have me build the up armor out of steel plate, you know, and then we would try to mount it, and the doors would just come right off.
yeah,
So there was that, and then I had to build the 240 machine gun turrets that we would mount in the back of the Humvees. So
240
I was
Bravos.
the guy before they had a whole team, me building turrets and up armor for Humvees that were not built for that level of armor.
Yeah, when you say welder, man, some people don't think about that, but like your job was to save lives. Because when I was there, I was a transportation platoon leader, so that's all we did was convoys and patrols. The entire time I was there,
Uh-huh.
and I remember doing convoys several times, wearing what we or having like what we called ghetto metal, where we would weld our own stuff on the side of like we would weld our own
Yeah.
and we called it ghetto metal, and it was like
Uh-huh.
we had our maintenance shop like basically put and makeshift these turrets for us,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes they were great, sometimes they were raggedy, but it's all we had.
Right. And it's like, guys, y'all are basically sending us out here naked.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, when these guys have rocket propelled grenades, RPGs, they got
Right.
IEDs, they have AKs, which they couldn't shoot for shit. But
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
but even still, and then when they had again when they I was the thing was is I was young, I was 23, and I was so excited to be the guy. Like I'm building this armor, and every time I would mount it, it would last for about 2 3 days, and then it's falling off. And it was
Yeah.
nothing I could do about it because it was literally steel plate on aluminum joints. It wasn't nothing I could do. I did
Right.
what I could do. But
Yeah.
hey, for this day, you guys are good. I got you for this day.
No, we
So
really appreciated all the work that the maintenance guys did and the welders did for us because we were all that we had. Fortunately, I did the rest of my deployment with Oshkosh level 3 armor, and I'll tell you, like after my platoon hit several IEDs, I ran over one myself. I mean, it saved it, like I think it saved my life. Like I still have a piece of an IED hanging on my wall over here, um, that I ran over. It's a rubber det cord with like nails through it, and they put electric tape to cover it when it was on the hardball,
yep,
and I ran it over in my Humvee. Like that's crazy to me. Like, and just based off the direction the mortar was facing and the up armored on the Humvee and all these other factors, like it didn't. The most of the impact was taken by the road and the Humvee, thankfully. So I'm still here,
it's
but
so funny. It's funny you said it the way you did. You said that I was saving lives, and I never, for all of my time, I never thought about it I never thought of it that way until um, maybe a month ago. One of my fellow Marines who was there with me, we hadn't talked in 20 years, right? But on Facebook, something came up and he texted me and he said, man, thank you. You saved so many lives out there. And I was like, I said, did I? I never thought about it like that. So it's funny that he just said it after 20 something years and you just said it. And it's kind of like,
Wow.
I guess I did. You're welcome.
Dude, you don't
So
even know, man. So
yeah,
the
you
guy,
don't.
the guy that I wear on my wrist, he was part of Task Force IED, and his job was to clear our routes for us, and
Mm.
he died doing that. And so guys like you, man, that were putting in the work, putting in the expertise. I mean, I'm extremely grateful for that for sure. And let's talk about your transition, man. So when I resigned my commission and got out, everyone thought I was crazy. Like I was told by a lieutenant colonel that I would be poor and I'd be eating pizza on the floor and all this stuff. And I mean, I can't even imagine like if they said that to me,
Mm.
like what they would have said to you if they would have known you were getting out and you were going to get into entertainment. Or did you know at that
So
time?
let me, and so we do honesty here, right? This is what we
Right.
do. They were actually, I think they were relieved when I got out because I was one of those Marines who went from sugar to shit. I went from sugar to shit, because you know those stories. Sometimes you marry the right one, sometimes you don't.
Oh boy.
So my story was, and I'll just give you the abridged version. I came back from Iraq. The wife, you know what I'm saying, and
Right.
that just everything from there. I just spiraled right on down. So by the time it was my time to get out, they were cool with me. You know what? You go ahead. We'll be good without you. We're fine. We're fine. Um, yeah, we're good. Plus, don't worry about it. We're good. And so, but when I got out, I was homeless. And so I honestly, at the time, I was doing music, So I even then I wanted to be in the entertainment industry, but I thought I was going to be a rapper. I really did think I was going to be a rapper. And there's stuff online. If you guys and watch this, Google Southern Noise. It's spelled SOUTHUNOYZ. I'm gonna say it one more time. SOUTHUNOYZ. And keep in mind, that was a young me. That was a young me. I was in a rap group, four Marines, and so at that point, I thought I was going to be, a big time rapper, and now I ended up being homeless after the Marine Corps, living in my friend's car, who I think his last name was Franklin. I lived in this car while he was in Iraq, and I did that for about a year until he came back, and I had to kind of get myself together at that point. And
Yeah.
so there's so like this my story is just so vast from there, from being homeless, to jumping forward. I actually lived in Kuwait for about 6 years after that as a yeah as a civilian contractor. So I lived in
Okay.
Kuwait for about 6 years. Then I was a firefighter. Then I was an EMT. I'm a full-time single father for the past 15 years. I tell everybody my story is all over the place. It's all over the
Wow.
place. But ultimately, what I realized and what people have helped me to realize is that those things that I went through, uh, it gave me multiple stories to tell through acting, which I sort of fell into. I didn't realize that's what I was going to be. I was going to be an actor. I just kind of said, hey, let me try it. And based on those, if if I try hard enough, if I push hard enough, based on those ideas, I said I can make it. Because the question becomes for me, this is the question that I always ask myself. If I'm looking at another person, another human being, just a human, they're not Superman, they're not Batman, they're not no billionaire, this is a regular human being that has made it in the industry. Why can't I?
Right.
The question becomes, what makes you so much better than me? Why can't I have what you have? You know what? I'm gonna go get what you got. Not what you have, but in the same vein. And
Right.
so that having that mentality of why can't I have it too pushed me to just go further, go faster, and go harder. And also understanding that I was late in the acting game, so I was hitting it hard.
Right. It sounds to me like you were failing forward and you were
Mm.
trying different things, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I have a story too, man. My people think that because I was commissioned, I was enlisted before that. So like Article 15s and
Uh-huh.
those counseling statements, I am very familiar with. And
NJPs I was busted down. Granted, I still tell people, I'm still listed as Lance Corporal Plus.
mhm.
When I got out, I wasn't Lance Corporal Plus. I went from an E3 to E2 because I ended up fighting the guy who was messing with my wife at the time. He was a corporal. He was an E4, so he was a NCO, and I was a non-NCO. And my lieutenant told me, don't go over there messing with him. Like, we know who he is, but we can't prove that he was messing with your wife. I'm like, bitch, I can prove it. But they told me not to. I did it anyway, and so I got a AWOL, absent without leave, because I was where I wasn't supposed to be, disobeying a direct order, and striking a superior officer. They were like, we got to bust you down. I'm like, do what you got to do,
Oh,
dude, because that dude it was who is the story? Yeah,
you
it was
know,
like a whole year. It was bad.
when you first got out, did you have problems like identifying being military? Like, did when you separated, did you just want to throw away everything and be like, I'm out, like I'm done. I don't want anything. Don't associate me with being military or anything. Did you go through that phase?
I never did. I never did. I think the one thing that I did do is I tried to grow my beard out. I was a little bit younger. I couldn't grow it as well, but no, I was proud of that. Becoming a Marine, an actual United States Marine, was probably the at that point the hardest thing I had ever done in my life, and there was no reason for me to be any less than proud of that just because I had a bad experience with some people while I was in. Like, Marine Corps didn't do that to me. I did it to myself. I chose the wrong person. And so I was still proud. And I understood that and disrespecting anybody else, but the Marine Corps is highly respected when it comes to the branches because it's the longest boot camp, it's the toughest. Everybody thinks the Marines, oh God, these bad MFers. So I was proud. I never was like, nah, I'm not a Marine. I even have it Marine Corps trained. It's tatted in my flesh. And I tell people that's my fair warning. If I put my hands up, if you can read, you know what time it is. You
I
know?
love it, man.
Yeah. And so no, always proud, always faithful, always a Marine. Till the day I die.
Yeah, we talked before the podcast, and that was the one thing when I was in that the Army was trying to mimic or copy
Uh-huh.
was when you walk up to an Army, uh, you know, NCO or lower enlisted or whatever officer, when you ask them like, "What do you do?" A lot of times the Army person will say whatever their MOS is, but when you walk up to a Marine, no matter what their MOS is, they always say
I'm a Marine.
exactly. And that's why they started doing that soldier first thing, and that's why they started making the officers go through like this little mini infantry course and all this stuff to try to instill like you're a soldier first and foremost, because during Iraq and Afghanistan people were getting placed in different jobs and it wasn't their job, so they were like, well, that's not really my job, and it's like, well, you're a soldier first.
Right.
So
Right. Absolutely. And it's so funny that you say that because um other branches, when I talk to them, they ask, what was your MOS? And I said, well, I was a 13, 16. They're like, oh, so you weren't a grunt. You didn't go do anything. I was like,
yeah,
nah, bro.
right,
That's not how it works in the Marine Corps. I don't know what y'all do.
right,
We
right,
going. As soon as they say, hey, gear up, let's let's rock
yeah,
out. You know what I'm saying? It's time to go. So just because I was a metal worker, that was being a metal worker was my side job to being a rifleman. I
right,
was a rifleman first, then I was a metal worker, not the other
right.
way around.
Yeah, and that's how it is in war. Like in war,
Mhm.
like I know the unit that replaced us, a transportation unit, was field artillery. So
Mhm.
they were completely like out of their realm. Like it wasn't
Mhm.
their thing. But I love how you talk. You had accountability at a very early age, whether you realize it or not, man. Because when I got out, I didn't have the best leadership. I didn't have the best time in the army. Um, my deployment was okay, but it wasn't. I don't know, man. And some of it was I brought on myself, and some of it was just the
Mhm.
circumstances. But when I
Mhm.
got out, I was like, I'm out. Like, just I don't want to, like, I just want to move on with my life and go on to the next chapter. And it sounds like to me you had a lot of accountability with yourself where, I chose who I married. I chose to make my decisions. Like, do you think that really carried you down the stretch to be where you're at today?
No, that is where I landed now. That ability to uh, look at myself. So part of what got me into the Marine Corps in the first place was the fact that I could see issues with myself that needed to be
Mhm.
adjusted, and I needed something drastic. So I was like, I'm joining the Marines. All right, fix me. Okay, because I don't want to end up with a F on my record, a felony. I don't want to end up with a felony on my record. I want to be a better person to have a fruitful and productive life. I want to be a good person. I want to be the good guy. The guy. Again, going back to those '80s movies, I wanted to be the Superman, the good guy. I wanted to be the guy who protector. I wanted to be that. And so, but when I got out, going back to it,
Yeah.
um, part of what fueled me was spite and anger. Spite and anger fueled me for many, many years until I grew out of that because I wanted to prove that person that you chose wrong. You chose the wrong person.
I love it.
You should have stuck by me. I wanted to be successful and make it and be this big time rapper and be like, ha, you chose wrong. So to be honest with you, um, when I was homeless, I could have ran home to my mom. My mom was she's still in Douglasville? I think she was still in Douglasville at the time when I got out. So Douglasville, Georgia. I was in San Diego. I could have ran home to mom. Now, granted, at the time I was 24 years old. I was a grown man. I'm not running home to my mama. I'm gonna figure this thing out, and I did my time homeless and also as and I my ex actually coined this term for me or gave me this term I wasn't aware of. It's called a hobosexual. Do y'all know what that is? Do you know a hobosexual?
I
Here,
don't know what that
let,
is.
let me break that down for you because when she explained it to me, I was like, oh shit, I was a hobosexual. So hobo, we know a hobo moves from place to place, right?
Right.
Right. And then I
Uh,
think you can add in the sexual part and figure out what I had to do to survive
yeah.
for a while, back and forth.
Okay.
Is so back then we still had MySpace. We still had MySpace back then. So I would hop on MySpace. Yeah, man, remember that? That's how far
I
back we're
do.
going.
I
And
do.
so I would get on MySpace and I would just be talking to a different girl and like, hey, yeah, I'm a Marine, I just got out, but I'm homeless and I'm going through this stuff with my wife, we're going through a divorce, da da da. Oh, I should be like, oh, so where you stay? I stay in my friend car. Oh, you don't have to do that. You can come stay on my couch. Sure. I'll come stay on your couch. And I would stay on the couch for a
Oh,
while. For
I
a
love
little
that
while.
term, man. That's
For a little, yeah.
funny.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, but ultimately, like I said, it came from, like I said, spite and anger. I wanted to prove that person wrong, but then also I needed to prove that to myself that everything that has happened for a reason. Like I'm going through all of this struggle, all of this strife, all of this. I have to win so that way I know that this pain meant something. Because the worst thing you can do is go through pain for no reason. The worst thing you do is whoop your child and not tell them why.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You give your child a spanking, you need to explain to them why you give them a spanking. That was the same thing I was thinking about with my life is whooping my ass right now. Now I need to get to the end of it. So not the end of life, but the end of this struggle to understand why am I getting my ass kicked? So that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and wow, you hit the nail on the head with me. I can identify with everything that you said as
Yeah.
far as like proving others wrong.
Mhm.
I mean, I was special ed growing up until like ninth grade.
Me
Was
too.
told by was told by counselors like I wasn't college material, like straight to my face, man. And I
Mhm.
was like, yo, bitch, like I'm gonna show you like college
Mhm.
material. Like, and
Right.
that was the early fire. So like every
Yeah.
time I'm like, yeah, man. Like that's
Yeah.
like
And to be honest with you, the reason why I'm able to say these things because I'm not afraid of mirrors. I have no problem looking in the mirror and going, "Damn, that's fucked up with me." Or that's something in me that needs to be fixed or adjusted, or that's the reason why. Even though it might not sound good or look good, this is why I'm doing this. The same thing that people find out about themselves in counseling, I can find it in a mirror. I
Yeah.
can just go, hey, I'm probably mad because such and such said this, and I don't like this, and I don't like it because of this. The it's just I don't know. It's I don't need counseling for myself. I just need to sit down and meditate and go,
Yeah.
why am I upset, or why am I sad, or why am I angry? And when I do that, I'm able to go back and go, hey, this is why these things happened. You know.
Right. Man, I tell you, like, and I've told people before because I've been through. They always say you're not in the military until you get divorced,
Oh,
and it's like, and it's like and working in law enforcement and military, like being in those rooms, you have to have thick skin, and I always used to tell people like, there's not anything that you can say to me that I haven't already said to myself, and
I am my
it's
own worst critic.
yeah, trust me,
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to get offended by anything you say because I've already told myself that I screwed up and I take
Uh-huh.
accountability, and that
Uh-huh.
self-awareness you're talking about, man. Some of the most successful people that I know are self-aware of their weaknesses,
Uh-huh.
and then they join the military to try to fix those weaknesses, or they're aware of like their surroundings, their upbringings are not the best in the world, so then they join the military to try to get out of it, and they stumble and fall, but then they get back up again. And that sounds like sort of where you were. You were very self-aware, very accountable at a young age, and you wanted to do better. And that's where it all starts, man.
Let me say
Um,
this, just to kind of piggyback off of that. If you haven't figured out, I'm a Black American man. I don't know if y'all picked up on that, but I'm that. And
I
I
don't know.
grew up. I was born in the '80s, grew up in the '90s, and a lot of and my mother was a single mom. I didn't have a predominant male figure for the majority of my life to kind of guide me and go, hey, this is not what fellas do. This ain't what we do. This is how we talk. So I went to entertainment, music, and my friend group and movies to see how a black man is supposed to conduct himself, and what was popular around black culture, and how to be black. And what I found, and I'm able to even look back now, and what I found is that a lot of that stuff that I was watching and a lot of the music I was listening to, not all the music, not everything I watched, but a lot of it was not the best. And I can see it even now in our culture now. I can see the way that it affects and taints our children. I'm going to speak specifically to the young men because it happened to me,
Mm.
and I wanted so badly to be real, to be hood, to be that, oh yeah, I've been to jail, I done did this, not realizing that ain't cool, man. That ain't what you want to be. You don't want to mess your life up for what? To prove what to who? Who do you want to prove this to? That person ain't doing nothing. That person ain't nobody. And so the being self-aware started then going, I don't want to fail. If I follow this person, these people, if I follow these people down a path that I can see the end result, then it's on me. It's my fault. I chose that path. So what I'm going to let you guys do, I'm going to let you guys go down this path because that's where all y'all want to go. I'm going to do just like this. Bow. What's over here? Hey y'all, it's cool over here. There's no problem. Nobody want to. That's all right. Y'all go ahead. I'm gonna go over here and try something different.
Right.
And there are people who are afraid. There are people even now to this day. They you sold out. And you went to go fight the white man's war and this, that, and the other. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man,
I hear the same thing from family
yeah,
and friends.
yeah, like I didn't want to be a stereotype. I don't want to be easily identifiable. I don't want to be easily identifiable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I have a nephew that's from Atlanta, and he got
Mm,
involved in gangs, and he eventually got killed. And it breaks my heart to think that, I mean, I remember going down to the detention center down there when he was locked up, and I
mm,
tried to talk him into something else. I said, look, you got to get into boxing or jujitsu, or you got to get into some positivity when you get out of here. And I remember he put a Facebook post up talking about, you know, me going down there and taking the time. But when he got out, man, he just fell right back into it again. And then he eventually got killed. And
Familiar. It was familiar. It was familiar and it was safe. And I think that's all we ever really want is something that's safe. And that felt safe because he knew that. He knew the devil you know.
right,
It's the devil you
man,
know.
so much that you've touched on, man. It's just like it hits home for me because I I'm with you. Like I know what you're talking about exactly, and I've gone through the same thing, man. So I'm so blessed to like be on this conversation with you today. But I want to get back to like your career, and talk about like what inspired you to first pursue acting and modeling, because this is kind of a unique industry in itself. Was there a specific moment or influence that set you on this path?
There was. So, and I talk about this all the time. A friend of mine, he's also, I think he's former Army. But we were contractors. I was saying I lived in Kuwait for about 5.5, 6 years. We were contractors out there. His name is Dexter Emery. Hi, Dexter. His name is Dexter. And he was talking about a small role that he had in the Born Supremacy, I think. He said the role got cut, but he had pictures and stills. And this is back in 2018. I still had
Mhm.
dreads and braids, and I had long hair. And I'm talking to him, and he's showing me these pictures, and I'm like, that looks interesting. How do I get into that? And he was like, and this is what he says. He goes, well, I'm doing this little independent project with this guy. Maybe I can possibly get you a role. I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. Never took a class, nothing like that. Just the guy comes out. I can't remember his name, but he comes out. He has a little camcorder on his shoulder. All right, this is what I want you to say, and these are the lines. All right, and come out here. I don't think I got paid for that. I don't remember anything, but it was literally my first time on camera. Um, and it just kind of blew up from there because I just hung out in Miami with Dexter. I think like 2 months ago, a month ago, or whatever, and people recognize me from Beyond the Gates, and we're in Miami, and so he's not acting anymore, but he's just like he says, dude, I don't even know, like I'm so proud of you, like you really just took off, and I was like, yeah, I just made a decision. That's what I wanted to do. And so, shouts out to Dexter. The reason why I'm here is because he said, and sometimes you'll have that person who will say the right thing at the right time to the right person. And he was the right person to say the right thing to me at that time. He was like, hey, I can try to help.
Yeah.
And now I've worked with Morgan Freeman, Chris Maloney, Viola Davis, Brian Tyree. I'm on a hit soap opera, and it's like all that came from it was a group of us, bunch of former military, sitting in a cabin, and he just pulls out the pictures and goes, "Yeah, I was in a movie, and now I'm here."
Yeah. I met Chris Maloney once, and I didn't know who he was. And
Mhm.
I think it was in Indianapolis at the Super Bowl, and we're standing in line for Starbucks, and then this guy's in front of me, and some girls walked by and was like, "Hey, we love your work." And I was like, and back then I was in law enforcement, and he had like a scarf around his neck, and so me being curious George was like, I was like, "Oh, are you an artist?" Or and he goes, "I'm an actor." And I was like, "Oh." I'm like, what have you been in before?" He goes, "Well, for the last 11 years I've been in Law and Order SVU." And I'm like, "Oh." I'm like,
Right,
"I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't
right,
know. Like I don't watch that. Like I did." But I
right.
mean, he was a really nice guy though. Really nice guy.
Yeah, I did 2 episodes of Law and Order OC, and I played a Marine with PTSD on the on
There we
the
go.
on the show. Yeah, yeah. So I did 2 episodes of that show. I got a chance to work with Chris, and I got knocked out on the show by Chris, and it was great. He's a very very intense actor. I loved working with him. I would love to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so awesome, man. And then before you stepped into the spotlight, what were some of the biggest personal or professional challenges that you had to overcome that you realized really quick? Because I know being in different industries, you have to take on like new challenges as far as like when you're in the military, you got to have like you got to be able to take criticism and things like that. What about the industry you're in now?
So what I will say the most difficult thing for me, and it's still something I work on, is emotions. You know, being a man, being a black man, and then being a Marine. You know, we don't access that shit too quick. You know,
Right.
but thanks to my acting coach, Jonna Nagley here in Atlanta, she helped me to break into that and to access those and to be able to emote. There was a show I did called Ordinary Joe, where my character was saved by the lead's character, his father, during 9/11. And if I had not been saved, then my daughter would never been born. And so, because I'm a girl dad, I was able to tap into those feelings and then I remember 9/11. Um, I was able to tap into that, and so that's actually been the most difficult. Is just tapping into more vulnerable emotions. But now it's part of the reason why it was difficult was because I didn't want to be seen as weak or less than. But then I understand that we all have emotions, we all have feelings, we all, and then part of my craft is to be seen. People are going to have to see you here, and they're going to have to see you here. They're going to have to see you, you know. And then the other part of it too, and this conversation that I have with people, they ask me, how do you get in front? How do you just talk to people? How do you get in front of cameras? And my fear, the fear that I have, is not the same fear that other people, that the average person or the person who has never been in the military had, or never been to combat has seen or may feel. My fear uh, is at a higher level. The things that it takes to make me afraid. And so I created a sort of a mantra or a saying of mine, and forgive me for using profanity. But what I tell people when they how do you do this? I say, in Iraq, I was shot at and bombed, and my enemy couldn't kill me. So what the fuck do you think your opinion can do to a man like me? What do you think your opinion can do to a man like me? Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I guess it's kind of like, what's your idea of a bad day?
exactly. I have this conversation with my daughter. I've seen kids who don't have walls on their homes or don't have shoes, walk around on hot rocks and glass, and that's their day to day life. Oh, but you want to complain because you don't have Wi Fi? Get out of here.
Right.
You want to complain because you don't have Wi Fi? These kids eat food with flies all over it, but you don't have cream for your latte. If you don't shut up,
You're right, man.
yeah,
What's your
like
idea of bad day? Right.
there's levels to this. All right, there's levels. You didn't meet my requirement yet. I'm sorry, you just didn't.
I love the experience, man. I feel like back in the day, more people, especially in the entertainment industry, served in the military. So to
Mm-hmm.
some extent, they had to eat shit.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
some people never do that nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like you have no idea,
The
you
other
know?
the other thing too is I think you and I came up in a time where this did not exist.
Right,
Social
exactly.
media did not exist. So we also live in an age where anybody can say anything at any time behind an anonymous face, a made up name. Anybody could, and the fact that they can do that, and that people will believe them and follow them, and oh yeah, that sounds like it makes sense. I think it's a detriment. I think the fact that people are not accountable, don't have to be accountable for the aftermath of the things they may say, because they can just hide.
Right,
They can just
right.
hide. I think we live in a coward society where cowardice is rewarded. I don't think cowards should be rewarded. I think people should strive to be stronger, mentally, physically stronger, better. So
Yeah.
it's my
I
preaching
love
box.
I love how authentic you are, man. Because at the end of the day, like I mean, I agree 100% with what you're saying. People can say whatever they want, because they would not say it in real life. And then also
Mm.
too, like you've got a lot of people out there that are just fake, like people that are portraying themselves as something online that they're not in real life, and that irritates me too.
and it absolutely should irritate you because the thing is that they call those people influencers. Their job
Yeah.
is to influence you to move in a certain direction, even if they don't believe that shit themselves.
Yeah.
You know, going back to, I'm sorry, real quick, going back to what I was talking about before about having something that's standing on something, believing in something, and not giving up your morals and your values.
Right.
Some people will do that simply for money, and it's like it's more courageous to just say, nah, I'm not saying that. That's a lie. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
Or I don't agree with that, so I'm just not gonna say it. But people operate out of fear, the fear of loss. So
Wow. You're a man that really stands on hard ground for sure. Because you ever worry about there being a ceiling because of you having those specific priorities of your life that you're not willing to violate?
I absolutely am afraid of that. That is something I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that my honesty and my willingness to be truthful will create a ceiling for me. But I have hope and I have faith in people, in good people. I have faith that there's somebody out there, in my industry or with what I do who gets what I'm trying to do and gets what I'm trying to bring forth because it's so interesting that we profit so much and there's so much money to be made off of lies.
Right. I hate it.
So interesting that we can. My curiosity becomes, how much money could we make off of the truth? Even though some would say that the truth is not lucrative,
Right.
being honest is not lucrative. So,
No, I'm with you, man. I absolutely hate it. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, I should like redact the like personal stuff on my DD214, but just have that available. Like, look, if because there's been questions about like people that are influencers now, whether it's the Liver King or Tim Kennedy, about things that
mhm.
they said that they did but they didn't do that are coming back now full circle to haunt them. And so you got to be careful, man, because there's accountability out there that will catch up to you on the things that you say and and you claim, and
And
that's
I'm
something.
sure I'm sure somewhere down the line I've said something that's going to come back and bite me in the ass. I don't know exactly what it is, but because I'm human, I've been around for fuck it 44 years now. So
You
I'm
look
sure
young.
somewhere along the line I'd have messed something up somewhere, and I've said something that I might not necessarily believe now or I believe differently. So it'll happen. But one thing I do, I was just talking about the other day, is I hated knowingly being hypocritical. So when I was rapping, when I was doing music, you know how rappers are. They talk about the cars and this jewelry and all this other stuff. So when I was doing it, I was rapping about cars and jewelry, but I didn't have it. I didn't have cars and jewelry. So as soon as I got some money, I immediately went and bought the car that I was talking about and some of the
Mhm.
jewelry that I was talking about because I just didn't want to be a hypocrite. So
Yeah.
yeah, speaking of the Liver King, because you look at the guy, great physique, and I'm all natural. I'm like, nah. Come to find out, you've been, you know. And the question becomes, why did you do that? Because the moment you lie, you just admitted that you don't deserve whatever accolades that you're about to receive. You do not deserve that. You admitted it to yourself because you lied. So you
Yeah.
know you don't deserve it. So why would you do it in the first place?
It was
You
all for
hate
money. Yeah, and people
all for
feel
money.
betrayed because
Yep.
he from what I read, like he literally made millions of dollars off of
Mhm.
these supplements and telling people like poor information that wasn't true to begin with.
Right. You cheated. You
Right.
became a millionaire and you cheated. You
Yeah.
effing cheater.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really frustrating, especially when
Mm.
you're authentic and I think in your case, man, like I mean, you've been 100% honest with everything from your MOS to what you've done. I mean, you're not going to fall into that category because at the end of the day, it's like some of these people go so far outside the lines like claiming that you have a Bronze Star with a V device, you know what award you were given
Uh-huh.
specifically, and that's what Tim Kennedy did. And it's like, why would you even say that? Why would you even tell a story about that at any point in time that would be recorded and broadcasted? Like that was done on purpose.
Right. You know we can see you, right?
Right.
You know we can hear you, right? Like
Right.
this is recorded, sir. Anybody with any, you know, so what this tells me, and what I've noticed, and what I do believe is that media believes that the average person is stupid, stupid and lazy, stupid and lazy, because stupid we can just tell them anything, they'll believe it, and lazy because they're not going to fact check it. They believe it. Then every now and again you get somebody who goes back and they'll fact check it. Like with me, I say I'm a decorated Marine Corps veteran. I don't have like Bronze Star, silver medal, but I am decorated. So when I tell people, you know, I have
Yeah.
my car, not my car, but we know what a car is, right?
Right.
And I say I'm a combat veteran. I say, yeah, I'm a combat veteran. I have my combat action ribbon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you get those people who just they fabricate easily Googleable things. You know, we can Google this.
Right.
Don't lie about things that can be easily fact checked, you idiot. But
Yeah.
then don't lie in general, but damn,
Yeah. You are
easily
definitely a deck.
Googleable.
I mean, in my opinion, the Marines are whether you got an award there or not, like you guys are decorated. I was in the military prior to September 11th, prior to Iraq and Afghanistan, and I remember hearing like all the garrison like shit talk about like, oh, the Marines, the Army's better, the Marines are better. But I tell you what, when you get down range and the bullets are flying,
You want to right.
it changes everything, man. Like I have a tremendous amount of respect. The few times that I got an opportunity to work with the Marines, I was impressed. Like I was like, wow, these guys are very professional,
Uh-huh.
and I trust them. And it's the same. I remember I worked with one Air Force unit over there that were also transporters, and the Air Force gets a lot of flack for being the chair force, but this unit specifically did what we did, and they got beat up too, man. They got IED'd, complex ambushed. They took a lot, and I was like, wow, like my perspectives have changed now that I'm in war versus in garrison, and that's everything, man. That you really hit the nail on the head with that one, man. Like that's and the industry is where it is, and I want to take it back to where you first started. What was your what was your first gig when you started the entertainment industry, and how did that opportunity come around?
Okay, cool. So we'll talk about my first on-screen gig, my first one, right? This is after I got an agent, and I was like, yes, I'm an actor. I still had braids. You guys can find this. It was MacGyver,
Yeah, I saw that.
season
Yeah.
three, episode, I think it was 19. It's like permafrost, seed, and something else. I don't know. But no, I went through the audition process, and I got the audition, and I had a friend of mine come read the other side for it. But I think the reason why I got it was because, and it's online where you see me actually doing the audition, was because the character it's just bad guy. I had like 4 words, one scene, 4 words. It was real quick, but he had a gun, and I didn't know that it was gonna be like this. My Marine kicked in, so I immediately went like this. So when I did my audition, they were like, he looks like he knows how to use a weapon. And so I'm literally swinging it, muzzle awareness and all
Yeah.
that. I'm doing my thing. And so they were like, he looks like he knows what he's doing. I was like, motherfucker, I know what I'm doing. I
Mhm.
did this. And so, and then also I had a very interesting hairstyle at the time. I had a dread or braids and this whole thing. So if you guys go back and look, season 3, episode 19, I think it's something permafrost seed and something of MacGyver. You'll see me. It's literally the first 2 minutes of the show. Like as soon as you turn it on, 2 minutes in, there I am, kicking the door, waving my gun. And so when I walked onto that set, I had done background before. When background, people are like, whatever, background, go over there, go. I don't know. Your room is behind the toilet or something. I don't know. It's like background gets treated weird. And but when I walked in, and this is CBS, and I'm with CBS now, CBS Paramount. Ta-da! And when I walked in, and they were, oh, backgrounds over there. And look, I was like, no, sir. Are you the bad guy? Yes, I'm the bad guy. Oh, sir. Well, can we make you an omelet? Here's your dressing room. Do you need anything? If you need anything, just let me know. And I was like, I need nothing from you, peasant. I was look, I was, I was milking it because I was like, this feels so good. And
Mm.
that was the moment I knew. Once we said cut, I'd done my scenes. This is all I'm doing for the rest of my life. It felt so good. I took a picture with Lucas Till, and he was a star in MacGyver, and Levy Tran. She was the one of the female leads, and it just felt so good. And I knew then that this is all I want to do, and I just went full throttle ever since. And it's just gotten bigger and better after that. Like even right now, I'm writing and producing and starring in, my own film.
Yeah. Wow. And so that whole creative process though, what's that look like when you're preparing for a new role or new project? Is it difficult to like do the lines? How do you like what do you do?
So it all depends on the role. So let's for the lines for me, there is difficulty with memorization because of PTSD and short-term memory issues that I have to really, 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 really work hard on memorization. Like overkill. I literally will go to sleep playing the lines and I'm finna osmosis this shit. You know what I mean? Like whatever. And but depending on the role will determine on how I prepare. What I typically do is I try to decide what that character wants ultimately, like their main goal. What do they want? If they didn't get it, what would they like? Would they die if they didn't have this? And then that kind of determines which way I go. I can't go full method. I'm a dad. My daughter's upstairs right now, so I can't go full method acting. I got to stay present in my kid's life. And but if it's an emotional scene, I'll find those things that that kind of gets me there, gets me in those feelings. If it's yeah. So my wheelhouse for anybody who's watching, my wheelhouse is charm and being authoritative. So being charming and being like the authority, that's sort of my wheelhouse. Everything outside of that, I have to work a little bit harder at that because just naturally, I know how to be in charge and I know how to be charming when it comes to women. I'm fucking
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
so so
You
yeah.
know, do you think the military helped hone a lot of that? Because in a sense, like sometimes you gotta, I always tell people you get more with sugar than you do with shit
Hmm.
when you're
Hmm.
asking for things. But then there are times where you have to be authoritative. You gotta
Hmm.
be like
Hmm.
command
Absolutely.
presence.
Absolutely. There are those times, you know, when I was in the Marine Corps and I'd be in charge, and you have to, granted, those are your buddies and some of them on the same level as you, but you have to be able to switch in and out of being that guy. Like, look, I know we're like homies, but right now I'm in charge. I don't want no bullshit. All
Right.
right. Because I have to report back to our corporal, our sergeant, our staff
Right.
sergeant, Gunny. So don't make me look bad, or it's gonna be on you. You know what I'm saying? And so there's those times where you have to be authoritative, but then there's other times where you have to use the sugar to get what you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
And then you know, being a welder. So there was a couple of things. I was a welder. I was also the safety. When I was in Japan, I was the safety officer for the shop. And to get like the safety equipment and things that we needed, I had to, granted I was meritorious Lance Corporal Plus at the time. And so they gave me a little bit of respect because I was a hard charger. This is before I got married. So this
Mm.
is before I got married. I was like
Mm.
hard charger. We still had the
The
woodlands.
BDUs. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the woodlands. So I was creased. Boots was
Yeah.
shine. I'm talking about
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
I was that Marine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I would get a little bit more respect, and I would get the things that I need, just being charming because I had to talk to the higher. I had to deal with a lot of stuff. Even though I was the E3, I had to deal with E6s and up. And so that kind of gave me that ability to go from one side to the other, talking to my Marines, but then talking
Yeah.
to the higher ups like, hmm. So,
Hmm. Same deal here, man. I was a second lieutenant when I deployed, so I was a gold bar.
butter bar.
Butter bar, dude. I was like right out of like, because I was enlisted in National Guard in Ohio, and then I went active duty as an officer. So, and I was only like 23, 24 years old, so I was a
Wow.
baby.
You didn't know shit.
So when I didn't know anything, dude, and like so I go over there and like I became 100% okay with like being wrong and getting my ass chewed by NCOs, and because I would have to eat it. I'd be like, "You're right, I screwed up." Like, it doesn't matter what rank I'm wearing, but I've got my ass chewed by E7s, E6s,
Right.
and I was okay with that, man. That's leadership, like it's, know your role.
Another thing that I love to tell people, you know, you have to be willing to, admit that you're wrong, and the reason being is because you're not gonna die. Literally, my bars for life are: Am I going to die? I'm not gonna die. Nah, you know. So me admitting when I'm wrong or when I've done something wrong or getting my ass chewed, whatever, it's like I can handle this because I'm not gonna die.
Right.
So it's literally my bar at this point in life. Basically saying the point of me saying that is that it's going to be okay. Be willing to take those hits, but you got to keep pushing forward. That's how winning is done. Another Rocky reference. Sorry. I saw the moment. I'm so sorry.
We grew up in that era, man. That,
I
that that's
did.
what
I did.
that,
I
that's what it
did.
was all about.
Uh-huh.
So,
I would
was
love to work with Stallone, dude. I just saying this. I like the film that I'm writing. I have a part that I wrote that I'm writing specifically. I want Stallone in because I'm like he'd be perfect. So I make a lot of Rocky references because I grew up watching those, and I watched them with my mom, and I have fond memories of Rocky 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the things that it kind of taught me. So I know I sound like a geek, but it is what it is.
it kind of hurts to watch that generation age. The guys like Clint Eastwood,
Mhm.
Rocky, even
Clint is
Arnold.
like
Like,
90 something now.
yeah, man, it's hard to believe. I want to take it back real quick, man. The Marines does a tremendous job as far as putting young leaders in position.
Uh-huh,
And
uh-huh,
your E4s are almost like E5s in the
uh-huh,
like in the Marines, and it's at the
uh-huh.
end of the day, you take command, and then you screw up, you fix it, and maybe you get fired, maybe you don't get fired, whatever the case is, but that's what it's cutting your teeth. And that's what I really appreciated about the Marines, man, was like even their enlisted folks had the responsibilities that were really high up there, man. And
Yep.
that was my experience. And with everything you're doing in film, how do you stay grounded and so consistent in such a fast paced and sometimes unpredictable industry?
Staying grounded again, being a father and knowing ultimately what I do now, it's fun. It's something that I enjoy doing. But I know at any point that the carpet can be ripped from up under me, and maybe I won't be doing this one day. But I know that my kids need me, and so I work as hard as I can. I push as far as I can, and I fight as hard as I can to succeed. I also understand that I'm not at the level that I want to be, and I also understand is that there's a fear that I will reach the level I want to be, and it still won't be enough. So staying self aware and understanding that before all of this, I'm a man and I'm a father. I gotta be somebody's daddy. You know, um, so that's what keeps me in place because I can get lost out mentally, get lost out there in the world, and then my child who did not ask to be brought to this world, she suffers. That is not fair. Especially with me already being the only one she's got. I've been a full time single father for 15 years now. She's 16, And so it's just been me, raising her, which is part of the reason why I'm so late to the game. I had to get her up some size before I even attempted to do this. And she didn't ask to be here. She didn't ask to be stuck with one parent. She didn't ask for none of that. So staying grounded means that I have to protect that baby.
Yeah. You know your reason why.
Hmm.
She's your reason why.
Absolutely.
Wow. And beyond acting and modeling, are there other business ventures or creative projects that you're real passionate about?
Well, most everything does really revolve around the industry itself. Like I said, I am writing, producing, and starring in upcoming action film. We're still in the development stages, but plan is for it to come out Labor Day of next year. So that's the plan. But I do love advocating and helping, other military and helping them to see that there are other things that we can do. We're not just bound to that. You can be a soldier, an airman, a seaman, a marine, and then you can also be this.
Mm.
So, advocating for mental health, homelessness, and or no, what did they say? What did they say? Unhoused, which I don't, whatever, but I'll say it.
Right.
Unhoused,
Uh,
um, and just trying to show the world that we're still important. We people who are willing, because I was an EMT slash firefighter for a while. People who are willing to run into danger for a stranger, for somebody who doesn't know, just for their right to live and survive, are a special kind of people. Um, the military gets a bad rap when people say, "Oh, you want to go fight this war, you want to go fight that war." I don't think anybody, well, most people, the majority of people don't join the military to go fight a war. I think they join the military to be of service, to give, even if that giving is possibly their life, but they're heroes. People willing to go fight for you because you don't want to go do it. And I want to bring respect back to that. Like, hey, you don't have to kiss their ass. You don't have to do that, but just understand that those people are willing to go out there, across the world, leave their family, leave their friends, leave everything they love and know, so you can be comfortable and have your Wi-Fi and have your cream for your latte, and the
mm.
fact that you're speaking English and not German or Japanese. Just a little bit of respect,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, and I tell people sometimes it's about God and country. It's not about me. It's about my
Hmm.
community. It's about the person next to me, and I think a lot of us have forgotten about that. You go to freaking Costco and you see people pushing shopping carts into other parking spaces, especially the handicap ones.
Uh-huh.
That kind of stuff really irritates me because I'm thinking about what about the next guy? What about the next person?
Hmm. Hmm. Now they have to do so I hate that it had to be this way, but the most cohesive time that I can remember in American history. Can you guess what I'm going to say?
9/11?
Boom. Nobody gave a shit.
Right.
We're American. They fucking with us. We gonna go see them, you know. And I miss that level of camaraderie, cohesion. I miss it.
Yeah.
Genuinely miss it because we didn't care. We knew somebody came at us, and we're American. I am black, white, Spanish, Asian. Nobody cared. We just know we're together now. We so I would love for us to have that level of cohesion again and just be American again,
Yeah.
without the tragedies. Granted, I'm sure people are watching this like, well, this is conspiracy theory, this, and the other, whatever, whatever, whatever. I don't care. That's not what
Right.
my point.
Right.
My point is, it was almost like we were family.
Right. 100%, man. 100%. I agree with you 100% on that one. And talk about you signed up at a time where we were at war.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Actually,
You're before
actually,
that.
I signed up. I was in the DEP program when 9/11 happened. I was just waiting to go. I had already signed a contract. I was sitting at my mom's house when the towers hit. I was sitting on my mom's living room floor when she called me from work and said, "Turn on the TV." I had already signed up. I was just waiting for the bus. That's when I signed up at a time
Oh,
directly before 9/11. And I sat there and I was just like, I was like,
me
shit,
too. Yeah,
damn, they got me.
I was enlisted in the National Guard at the time, and 9/11 happened,
Mm.
and I decided I because I could have gotten out and never have gone Iraq or Afghanistan, and I decided that I would get commissioned, and I knew that I was going to deploy. I just didn't know when, and I didn't. It happened like right as soon as I got to Hawaii, to Schofield Barracks. They gave me my here 30 days. You're going to, and I'm like, well, I'm a butter bar. Like I don't know anything, and
Uh-huh.
I was so scared, man. I was like, you, but again, like you find that intestinal fortitude and that God and country and community, and man, it was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. Was it difficult for you knowing that once you get through boot camp that you could be going down range and going to war?
Well, difficult ain't impossible, but I lucked out. I actually got a year reprieve. After I got out of the boot camp, I went to my MOS school at Aberdeen Proving Ground. Proving Ground.
Yeah, I was there.
You were? Yep,
Yeah,
I
I
was
went there
there.
for my OBC.
Look at that. See, I was there. They have the Marine Corps welding program is at Aberdeen Proving Ground.
It's
So we
ordnance,
went.
right?
And so I actually went to Japan. I went to Iwakuni, Japan for a year. Now during that time, now granted, I could have stayed, but during that time, I got married and they wouldn't bring her over. So I ended up going to Camp Pendleton. And that's when I deployed and did all that. But by that point, no, I wasn't afraid. I trusted my fellow Marines around me, and I had a great command at the time. Shouts out to Sergeant Pelham and Sergeant Taylor. Um, and yeah, so I wasn't afraid. You know what I mean? I knew my fellas had my back, and plus I had something else. I was newly married, so I felt like I had something else to fight for. I was going to fight for my wife. You know, wish she would fuck for me while I was gone.
Boy, we got some stories.
I got stories,
Oh
but
boy, me too.
so yeah, yeah. So no, I wasn't afraid. I didn't I didn't feel my first bout of fear until May 17th, 2004. So my birthday is May 16th. And remember I told you I built the turrets.
Yeah.
So on May 17th, um, we lost Bob Roberts. I'll never forget because it was the day after my birthday. I turned 23 and he was KIA. And that was the first time I got scared when the realness hit. The finality of mortality hit the squad. That's when I got scared. And then it kind of lingered here and there every time we would take convoys. I'd be like, damn, I don't want to go. In my head, I'd say, even verbally, I'd say I don't want to go, but obviously I went. I'm the guy. I'm all they got. I got to do my job, and just hoping that I came home safely and I can get home safely to my wife. That's all I wanted to do. Let me get home to my wife. Get home to my wife. So,
Man, you give me goosebumps, bro. Like I feel you on so many levels, man. I remember sitting in the Uramic traffic circle, and the night before, another lieutenant, just like me, was shot right in the middle of his sappy plate with a 50 cal. And I sat
50
there,
cal.
a 50
That is
cal
uncalled
sniper.
for.
Dude, so these guys had 50 cal sniper rifles. I mean, they were,
Barry.
and
Oh my god.
and that's the thing, man. Like that was real. Like I sat there with MVGs on in the turret because I was a type of lieutenant that I would get up in the gun, I would
Mm, mm,
drive, I
mm.
wouldn't just do convoy commanding and sit in my in my beautiful like passenger seat and do whatever. Like my squad leaders they're the ones that taught me everything. My NCOs taught me everything I knew because I didn't know anything.
Mhm.
Um, and that was the scary part for me was I didn't have that camaraderie prior to deployment with anybody. It was just go over here and you're gonna meet
You're in charge.
everyone. Yeah, you're in charge and you're gonna meet everyone as soon as you get in country. And the day I landed, that was when we had the Chow Hall bombing in Mosul,
Mm-hmm.
um, which was followed by a bunch of mortars and rockets. So my first few weeks was spent under concrete bunkers with my Kevlar and
Mm-hmm.
living in one of those Connex like makeshift places. And man,
Mm-hmm.
it's looking back on it, man, like everything you're saying, like as far as like when it really hit home for you, and you probably were standing at, you probably had a memorial service with the boots and
Boots,
everything. Yeah,
rifle.
man.
Yep, Kevlar. Bob
Yeah.
Roberts. We lost other guys, but I was closer to Bob. He was part of my squad. Plus, I actually knew him longer than everybody there because he was in Iwakuni, Japan with me as well. Well, we weren't together in Iwakuni, Japan, but I would see him in Shaw. He was tall. He reminded me of Gary Busey. That's what he reminded. He kind of reminded me of Gary Busey with red hair, and so he was just he had a memorable face.
Yeah.
And then to lose him the day after I turned 24, 23, 23.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that day because
Right.
I sat and I cried. Like I straight up, I was standing outside. I'll never forget. I was standing outside. We were at ASP Wolf, Ammo Supply Point Wolf, and we were protecting the contractors as they were like blowing up ordnance. They kept finding ordnance in these bunkers, and they were just blowing up ordnance. So we were out there, protecting them. And we lost Bob, and that's his real name, Bob Roberts. We called him Bob Bob. And the you know I stood out front of our barracks, and I was listening to "Swing Low, Swing Chariot," the Beyonce version from the Fighting Temptations on a little CD player. That's what we had back then. And I bawled out like a bitch, you know, because I was genuinely scared. I was like, shit, he ain't coming back, and there's a good chance that because we were maybe oh, just barely over. We were just over about halfway through the deployment, and I was like, I still got time here. And I do a lot of convoys. As the welder, I do a lot of convoys. I'm like, crap. So yeah, that one hits, and then it still hits because
Coming back here, man, it probably drove you nuts. I know it drove me nuts whenever people would ask me where I was, and I would say Mosul. And because of the news, everything they would label as Baghdad, they'd be like, they would say, "Oh, well, it sounds like you were in a safe place." Like,
no,
there's no safe place. They're like,
yeah,
"What's your
no,
job?"
no. I was in Haditha Dam for a while. I was there with the Israeli army, and shouts out to the Israeli army because, good lord, like everybody goes with them. Like
And they don't mess
it's
around.
required. No, they don't mess around. They're required. And what messed me up was let me tell you, they had these funny helmets or whatever. But what messed me up, right, is I'm gonna hit Haditha Dam. I was doing some welding over. I don't remember what I was welding. But I was building something over there, and these gorgeous women were just walking around in uniform, and I'm 23. I'm like, who are they? And the guys were like, they were like,
Oh, yeah.
dude, that's the Israeli army. I'm like, the women? They were like, yes. I was like, good God, like they just walk around fine, like they just act just look, they just gorgeous like that, So that was hilarious to me, and I spent a number of months at Haditha Dam. I don't remember what I did, but I just remember I was there building stuff. And every time I would walk around, I'm like, oh, I'm so married, though. So married. little did I know, I could have cheated, and it'd have been just fine. It'd have been
Man,
okay.
man, people. I can't tell you how many people I knew that left to go to war, do something honorable, and then when they came home, they didn't have the white picket fence.
Mm-mm.
They lost themselves while they were there, I had a couple guys that begged me at the end of the deployment. They said, "I want to extend. Just keep me here." And it come to find out, like when I started thinking about it and started asking them more questions, the reason was because, when I left, I had the house, I had the kids, I had the dog, I had the white picket fence. But now when I go home, I've got to talk to a divorce attorney. I've got to move in with my parents. My stuff is in storage right now. Like I have to face the music. And that's something people don't think about, man. It's like when you come home, things aren't always the same. People here went to spring break. People here lived their lives. But you and I, we were trying to stay alive, like trying to avoid IEDs, trying to avoid rockets and mortars and things like that. And that's what we did for a year. And that's crazy, man. Like just to put it in that perspective. And I try to, you know, get people to understand that about me the most. And um Maurice, I wanted to ask you because I'm sure there's other creatives out there that are interested in breaking into the industry. What advice would you give to those folks who are trying to break into the entertainment industry, especially those with connections or a those without a clear starting point or any connections yet?
Okay. So I'll just like I tell anybody, with acting, is step one, take classes. A lot of people say that, I even thought this before I started acting. Oh, I have a great personality. I'm funny. I'm charming. Da da da. Da. I could be an actor. Takes more than just being funny and charming and all that. You got to take some classes. Another thing too is do research on people and find a mentor. And it might be a mentor that doesn't even know that they're mentoring you. And I say this because a couple of people that secretly mentored me that didn't know they were mentoring me, uh, Will Smith, he secretly mentored me. He doesn't know it. Chadwick Boseman, I was following. So basically, what I mean by that is the path to success has been laid out by numerous actors, numerous people, whatever the field is. Find that person who you would like, whose career you would like to emulate, even maybe surpass, and just start where they started. I was looking into the schools where Chadwick Boseman had studied at. There's actually Lamb. What is? Oh, gosh, British British American Arts. I don't know, but it's it. Oh, BADA. That's right. British Arts Drama Academy. I think that's what it is. But it's actually in London, and I wanted to go there. I couldn't afford to go there, but I was a dad too. I couldn't just go by this point. But yeah, do your research. Don't let people scam you, and take classes. And then if you're not sure, and I say this very honestly to people, if you're not sure what to do, my DMs are open. If you don't know, I'll let you know, free of charge. Like, hey, that's stupid. Don't do that. They're trying to scam you. You're gonna end up somewhere missing your kidney. Don't do that. I'm like, come on. So yeah,
Man,
I'm very open to help people.
the mentoring thing, I also do work with Act Now Education. I'm a board member for them. It's a nonprofit, and we underline mentorship so much. And I really think that that's the one thing that this generation is missing is folks like me and you who have this experience, right? And like just giving advice, like, and don't be afraid to give advice to people. Talk about your failures, your wins, your trials and tribulations, all that stuff, man. Try to create a clearer path for the generation behind you. I feel like that is a huge role to take on for folks, and I appreciate you saying that, like the mentorship side of it, and your willingness to help others out. Over
I
over
think
the
I think and this is gonna sound really cliche, and I'll just make it quick, but I think the world, and not just the world, but specifically our kids. I think our kids need heroes, somebody to look up to, but human heroes, meaning
right,
like somebody who's fallen down. Like I've been to jail. When I was a kid, between the ages of 17 and 20, I went to jail a couple of times. But that's not where I ended up in life. You know, just
right,
humans trying to figure it out. So if I can save somebody some time and some heartache, if I can save someone some time and some heartache by, telling them my story and and showing them the path that I took, I am so willing to do that.
Yeah. I think the best advice I've given someone before that's fallen down is I will tell them, like, look, this situation doesn't define you. Like, your
Mm,
book is not finished yet.
mm.
This is just a chapter of your entire book. So some people feel like, oh man, I really messed up. My world just crashed down on top of me, and I don't feel like I can like this situation, this whatever it is that you're going through, it doesn't define you, you know. And
Right.
people need to remember that.
Yeah,
Um,
you're still breathing. Like literally, again, the bar for me is death. I'm still breathing.
yeah, that's
Still
so
breathing.
true.
Mhm.
Over the years, who have you looked up to in the industry or in just life in general?
Um, I would say, if I had to say I looked up to anybody, I would say probably Viola Davis. I would say Viola Davis. I got a chance to work with her on The First Lady. She was playing Michelle Obama, and she and I worked together. It was a pretty physical scene, and she walked into the set, and I felt like, well, I could have been misinterpreting. I could have saw it wrong, but I felt like she was uncertain or unsure of what we were going to do in the scene because we were boxing. And I immediately said to her, "Hey, Miss V, I got you. We gonna make this work." And the fact that I was able to see her vulnerability, knowing that she is who she is, like, dude, that's Viola. That's Viola. It let me know that just because you up here, you're still a human. You're still a person. Literally, everything starts with the idea of humanity. Start with that. Start with humanity. Start with empathy and humanity. And I learned that from her, and that sort of eased the pressure off of me to that I had to be this. I had to know it all and do it all if I wanted to make it. No, and I look up to her. I look up to her career and how hard she fights for herself, and yeah, yeah. So I would say Viola. And she don't even know this. Like I'm very much inspired by her and her story.
It's interesting. Maurice, what's one message you want your audience, fans, and followers to remember you by?
That if there was one thing, one message that I want people to take from me is that if you see that I did it, and if you see that I can do it, then you can too. There is no difference between you and me. Again, everything stems in humanity and empathy. So if I can do it, you can do it. So just Nike that thing and just do it.
Yeah. Just execute, right?
Just execute. You see your
Execute.
goal, you identify your target, execute. That's it. That way.
So what's over the horizon for Maurice? Anything exciting that we should be watching out for, man?
Yes, 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 yes. So as you know, I'm heavily recurring on CBS's Beyond the Gates. I
Yes.
play Randy Parker there. So if anybody wants to check out a soap opera, which I was shocked I'm on a soap opera, check that out, Randy Parker. I am currently in the works of writing, co-writing, co-producing, and starring in an action thriller called Labor Day. So I'm working on that. I have two horror films coming out this year, as well as I'll be doing an episode of Stranger Things that comes out season 5. So I'll be in Stranger Things season 5. So playing military. So there's that. So there's a few things. I tell everybody and I don't mean to sound like that, but Google, because I be forgetting sometimes, And then go check out my catalog. Go check out, like, oh gosh, I didn't know that was you back in the day. Yeah, that was me. That was that guy.
Wow. Man, you're a busy man. You got so many movies coming out and the whatnot. I don't know how you do it all, man, but and be a father and first and foremost, that's the most important thing. Before we round
That's
out the
it.
episode, I just wanted to ask, man, do you have anything else that you want to mention that I didn't mention during this podcast?
Um, you know what? One thing I definitely want to mention is I want to say, thank you to everybody that sat with us and watched. And I just want to say thank you to you for actually taking the time to sit with me, work with me on my tech here and my sound, and we did the best we could do. And just to give me an opportunity to talk about a little bit about my story, about the military, and just bring a little bit more light. So I just want to, say thank you to that. Thank you to CBS. Thank you to Betty Diaz. Betty Diaz. She was with Paramount Veterans Network, and she is very, very, very big on helping veterans and bringing attention. So just much love to her and thank yous. But thank you as well. Okay,
No,
boom.
man, I'm honored. I'm honored, and I was surprised when I got a message back from you. Like I was not expecting that at all, man. And I appreciate you representing the veteran community as well. I think a lot of times, the further we get away from 9/11, Afghanistan, and Iraq, I feel like we're sort of fading into the fog a little bit. So it's great to
Complacency.
meet. It's great to meet someone like yourself, man, that's been there and has real life experience with an incredible. I'd say we had an incredible like last 20 years, man, like when we
Yeah,
were
man.
in both those wars. So Maurice, thank you. It's been an honor and I'm blessed, man. And sharing your story and your honesty and your heart and your journey is a powerful reminder with focus, faith, fearless creativity, the idea that anything is possible. For those listening, make sure you follow Maurice on Instagram. Maurice, are you also on other social media accounts as well?
Yeah, I'm literally everything is Maurice P. Kerry. That's MauricePKerry on all social media.
Okay, and then make sure you stay locked in with everything he has coming up as well. He's a busy man. He's got several movies coming out this year. He's got more on the horizon. Maurice, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, we really went down certain little short rabbit holes about the military and going to war and everything. And for everyone else out there, I want you to stay tuned, stay focused, and stay motivated. Warriors, fall out.